Hello everyone, you are watching Learn Easy with us. We provide educational and training videos every day. To stay updated with our latest content, please click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. Please share your valuable feedback in the comments below after watching the video. Without any delay, let's get started. Ready? Let's dive into today's topic.
See in the description box here, we've got all the prices for small, medium, large pizzas, as well as the modifiers. So if they want pepperoni on a small pizza, that's an extra $2. If they want pepperoni on a medium or large pizza, that's an extra $3. And finally, if they want extra cheese, that's $1 on top of their bill. So your goal is to use what you've learned about if statements, elif statements, else statements, nested if statements, multiple if statements, everything you've learned so far basically in today's lessons to be able to build this and get it to do what we expect it to do. So pause the video, have a think about how you might tackle this problem and work through each of the to-dos in order. Afterwards, come back and we'll go through the solution together. By the way, in this lesson, you can click on the check button once you think your code is doing what it's supposed to, and we'll run through the automatic test using various options that we've tried for size, pepperoni, and extra cheese to verify that your code works. So pause the video now. All right, so let's run through the solution together. The first thing we want to do is to work out how much they need to pay based on their size choice. So we've got all the prices here, and we're going to start off with a variable called bill that's going to start out at 0. And we're going to check the variable size. So if the size that they chose is equal to S, that means they wanted a small pizza. So then to the bill, we will simply add $15. Now, at this point, because this is the very first if statement and we're simply setting the bill depending on the size that they chose, you might have done it differently. You might have done this. You might have said, let's set the bill to equal 15 instead of plus equals. Both of them work and both of them are acceptable solutions. Now, I'm going to stick to using the plus equals because we're going to be using it a lot in this program. So hopefully you already understand that this is the same as saying plus 15 to the previous value of bill and set it to the new value. So the next thing we need to check is what if they chose a medium-sized pizza? So we're going to use elif and we're going to check the second condition. If size that they chose is equal to M, in this case, we're going to add $20 to the bill. So we're going to say bill plus equals 20. And the final version, so the L, if they chose a large pizza, we need to set it to $25. Now, there's two options here. You might have done an L statement because we've already tackled S and M. The last one is just L. So we could simply set the bill is equal to plus equals 25. But you might have also added another elif statement. So again, both of these options work. We can say elif size equals L. Depends on what you want to choose, but both of these options will work just fine. Now, you might also want to add a final else statement if you are really careful, because what if they typed something wrong? What if they typed instead of S, M, and L, they typed some mumbo jumbo? Well, that would be tackled in the else statement, and you could print out you typed the wrong inputs just to catch that situation. Now, I have a warning sign under my print statement, and it tells me that my indentation is not a multiple of 4. So just in case this happens to you, just make sure that every time you use an indent that you've got 4 spaces in there. So if I just add one more space and make sure that all of these are on the same indentation line, that warning goes away. So we're done with the first to do. We've worked out how much to add to the bill based on the user's size choice. The next thing to do is to figure out if they chose any pepperoni. So if pepperoni is equal to Y, then in that case, we need to add some money to their bill. But how much? Well, it depends on the size of their previous choice. So if they had a small pizza, it's $2. And if they had a large pizza, it's $3. So the easiest way to do this is to use a nested if statement. So inside the previous if statement, we've already checked to make sure that they chose Y for pepperoni, so yes to pepperoni. If we add another if statement here, this will only be checked if they already said they wanted pepperoni. So if the size is equal to S, then this is the case of a pepperoni on a small size pizza. So to the bill, we can add $2. Now else, so they chose yes to pepperoni, but they have a different size, then we can say the bill should add equal $3. And that solves the pepperoni problem with a nested if statement inside another if statement. So the final to do is to work out their final amount based on whether if they want extra cheese. So this is a situation where we have multiple if statements. So we have an if statement here that's being checked, we have an if statement here that's being checked, and finally we have an if statement that checks if they want extra cheese. So if this is equal to yes, then all we need to do is add the $1 to the bill. And that is all we need to do to complete this last addition. And now we can finally print out the value where we say your final bill is, and then colon, and then a $sign, and then we're going to use an F string to insert the amount for our bill right here. And finally, we need a full stop. Now, make sure that you've actually got everything written exactly as I have, because otherwise the checks are not going to pass. So now that I've made sure I've got all the right full stops and all the right wording, and hopefully my calculations are correct, I can now click on check. And if everything is correct, then it tells me, congratulations, everything's correct. So hopefully that wasn't too hard and you managed to figure it out by yourself. If not, this is the time to go back and fix your code based on what you've learned in the solutions. We all make mistakes and we all need help to figure out things. There's nothing wrong with learning from the solution walkthrough as long as you understand everything that's going on. So go ahead and do that if you need to. Otherwise, head over to the next lesson where we're going to learn about logical operations.
Thanks for watching the video till the end. Please leave your thoughts below so we can discuss more about the topic. If you'd like to suggest a video that could help the community, feel free to message me on X or Instagram. We also share short videos on Instagram, so make sure to follow us there. Feel free to reach out. We'd love to hear from you, and might even create a video based on your suggestion.